Want to get rid of slowdowns in Metal Slug, Blazing Star, and other Neo Geo games? Well, there are patched cores available that will allow you to play these games much more smoothly thanks to Cyril1980 on the MiSTer FPGA forums. The latest patches allow you to overclock the CPU from the original's 12 MHz to 18 or 24 MHz. These are not official and need to be downloaded manually. Bob from Retro RGB has an interview with core developer Martin Donlan, also known as wickerwacka. He recently developed the M72 core, which runs R-Type and R-Type 2. He's also worked on other aspects of the MiSTer FPGA project. The interview talks about many topics including FPGA development. I highly recommend it to get some insight on what core developers go through. There are new test builds for the Saturn Core. These are not official and were compiled from the core's GitHub page by users. Some more games are working, but the core is still a long way off. If you want to test it out, you can download it from the MiSTer FPGA forums. To support this core's development, you can subscribe to the developers SRG320's Patreon page. Pierco has made the Bank Panic core public, so update your MiSTer now to obtain it. I also want to mention that FPGA emulation and software emulation are both great technologies. I do not see them as competing with each other because I use both. Nothing shows this more than seeing FPGA and software emulation developers work together to help preserve the games we love. In the case of Bank Panic, Pierco discovered that some levels are meant to use an alternate palette bank with one color changed. This palette allows stages to be shown in a nighttime setting. This bug was in MAME for around 25 years, and Pierco worked with the MAME team to get this updated in MAME. Anton Gale has made a lot of progress on the Exerion core. The latest work done was concentrating on improving the sprites, and they are almost done, and there seems to be an addressing/timing issue to resolve. Next up is to work on the third and final layer for the game. Jimmy Stones has now gotten Clean Sweep running on simulation and on the MiSTer FPGA. He also fixed some timing issues that caused the MiSTer core to behave differently from the simulation. He's only 30% of the way through, so there's still a lot more work to be done. If you have a MiSTercade and need a remote for it so you can have easier access to commonly used features, MiSTer Add-ons has listed 10 units of version 2 of the remote on his website. New features in this version are PlayStation controller support, also allows for 2 players, a GunCon sync port, and 2-player support for NES and Super NES. Hotego has had a Rainbow Islands PCB donated to his team. It will first get in the hands of Twitter user Scooter77 for schematic extraction, and then head over to Hotego for FPGA development. Bilinear filtering for the PlayStation Core is finally done, and we should be seeing it on the next update, but there are test builds available if you can't wait. For this feature, an option was also added that automatically detects polygons that are used for 2D only, so we won't get blurred out text and HUD elements. Mike Simone has added support for Raiders 5 to the Ninja Kid core. The update isn't available yet, but the commit has already been merged. On top of adding Raiders 5, Mike Simone also fixed a memory leak and plans to add support for another game, Nova 2001. Mike also has posted an update on the adapter he's developing for the cores that support S-Video and Composite. He has a video that shows the progress of the latest adapter. The cores do not require the adapter and can be used with some cheap off-the-shelf cables. I have a video that shows you how to set this up. The adapter, however, will streamline everything and also include a Luma trap to improve video quality. A core for Penguin-Kun Wars has been released. This was developed by Macro. If you want to support the work that Macro does, you can support them on Ko-fi. And other miscellaneous MiSTer fixes and updates are, in Battle Bach Raid for the Ryzen core, there was a stable fix for copy protection. The free play dip switch no longer should cause scroll layers to randomly disappear. For the C64 core, a key modifier option was added. The framework was also updated, and there were other minor tweaks and fixes. For the Atari ST core, there is correct support for cartridges. Direct video without line doubler was fixed thanks to Paul BNL, and the framework was updated. For the PCXT core, floppy disk drive support is now based on the same support used in AO486. This was thanks to Kitsune-san, and OPL sound support was updated to the latest JT OPL2 version. And for the main MiSTer software, the CD drive was reworked for the Saturn Core. If errors are detected in the INI settings, a message will appear for 5 seconds at core startup. This is thanks to wickerwacka. A new option was added for having a section for vertical arcade games, also thanks to wickerwacka, and their support for SDL Game Controller DB to help with setting up default controller mappings. This was thanks to Zach4223. That's it for other updates. Please also try to support Sorge, the maintainer of the MiSTer project, and other MiSTer developers and contributors on support platforms such as Patreon and Ko-fi. Their hard work allows us to enjoy this amazing project. And now for the Analogue Pocket news. Adam Gastineau has released a new version of the NES core. Some settings were rearranged, there were some minor fixes, and thanks to Shane Lynch on Twitter, there is Zapper/Lightgun support. Adam Gastineau has also maintained a list of resources on GitHub that can help other developers. Hotego released a Ghosts and Goblins core for Patreon subscribers. You can get the link by visiting his Patreon page. He also has another Patreon post that gives some updates on the future of his Analogue Pocket cores, which includes hiring another engineer to speed up development. Marcus Jordan has gone on a core releasing rampage. He released cores for Galaga, Big Doug, Xevious, Russian Attack, and Puyan. So that's it for this episode. I provided links to all my sources in the description. Make sure you also check out RetroRGB.com to see my MiSTer news videos in blog form and to get some more retro related content. And if possible, support them on Patreon too. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. And if you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button and its bell icon so you can get notified of future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you next time.